Imagine you're standing in line at a coffee shop. You look at the person in front of you. They're wearing a $400 designer hoodie. They just stepped out of a brand new Tesla, and they're paying for their $7 latte with a gold-plated credit card. Then there's you. Maybe your car is 10 years old. Maybe your wardrobe is mostly basics. And maybe, if you checked your bank account right now, you have exactly $0 to your name. After the bills are paid, there is nothing left. Society tells you that the person in front of you is winning and you are failing. But here's the cold, hard mathematical truth that most people are too scared to admit. If that person has a $60,000 car loan, $15,000 in credit card debt, and a mortgage they can barely breathe under, and you have $0 and zero debt, you are wealthier than they are. By a lot. Welcome to the $0 Net Worth Club. It's the most underrated financial position on the planet, and today I'm going to show you why broke is a temporary state, but debt is a structural prison. My name is BUKI, and I spend way too much time thinking about the math of debt and the psychology of why we trap ourselves in it. If you're someone who feels like you're constantly running on a treadmill just to stay at zero, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Look, here's the thing. We have been conditioned to view zero as a failure. We see a $0 and 0 cents balance and we feel a sense of panic. We feel broke. But broke and poor are not the same thing, and neither of them is as dangerous as being indentured. Let's look at the stats because this is where it gets really interesting. According to recent Federal Reserve data, the average American household carries over $100,000 in debt when you factor in mortgages. But the real killer? The average credit card balance is hovering around $6,000 per person. Now, you might be thinking, BUKI, $6,000 isn't that much. I can handle that. Is that so? Let's do the math. If you carry a $6,000 balance at the current average APR of 21% and you only make the minimum payments, you will end up paying over $9,000 in interest alone over the next decade. You aren't just paying for the things you bought, you are paying a patience tax to a multi-billion-dollar bank that is laughing all the way to the vault. Here's what most people don't realize. Being at $0 means you own 100% of your future labor. If you are $50,000 in debt, the next year of your life doesn't belong to you. It belongs to your creditors. You are essentially a ghost employee for Visa or Sallie Mae. You wake up, you go to work, you stress out. But the first $500 or $1,000 of your hard-earned paycheck doesn't even touch your life. It bypasses you and goes straight into the pockets of a CEO you've never met. Now, this is where I usually get some pushback. People say, but BUKI, what about good debt? My student loans allowed me to get this job. My mortgage is an investment. Look, I'm not saying all debt is equally evil. A mortgage on an appreciating asset in a good neighborhood is fundamentally different than 24% interest on a vacation to Tulum you couldn't afford. But here's the trap. We use the term good debt to justify bad behavior. We tell ourselves the $50,000 student loan for a degree we aren't using is an investment. It's only an investment if it yields a return. If that degree doesn't increase your earning power beyond the cost of the interest, it's not an investment. It's a luxury purchase you financed with your future. If your ROI is negative because the interest on the loan outpaces your salary increase, you are losing. Period. Most people don't realize that good debt can still kill your cash flow. If you have $3,000 in good debt payments every month, you are fragile. If you lose your job, the bank doesn't care that your debt was educational. They want their money. The person at $0? They can survive on a part-time job at a bookstore while they figure things out. They have optionality. Why do we do this? Why do we prefer the look of wealth with a negative net worth over the feeling of freedom with a zero net worth? It's psychological. It's called conspicuous consumption. We use products to signal status to people we don't even like. Think of it like an anchor. If you're at sea and your boat is empty, you're at zero. You can go anywhere. But if your boat is filled with gold-plated furniture, but you're anchored to the bottom of the ocean, you aren't going anywhere. I'm slightly frustrated by how often I see people upgrading their lives the moment they get a $5,000 raise. They immediately lease a better car or move into a bigger apartment. They went from being stable at zero to drowning at negative 10,000. We have a psychological bias called lifestyle creep. As our income increases, we allow our expenses E to increase at the same or higher rate. When this happens, your net worth stays at zero or goes negative, even though you're making more money. You are effectively working harder to stay in the same place. It's madness. This is where it gets really interesting. When you are at $0, true zero, you have the highest level of risk flexibility. Let's look at two people, Negative Ned and Zero Zoe. Negative Ned makes $100,000 a year. He has $50,000 in consumer debt at 15% interest. He pays $1,500 a month just to cover the interest and a bit of principal. After taxes and his high lifestyle expenses, he saves nothing. Zero Zoe makes $50,000 a year, half of what Ned makes. But she has zero debt. Her expenses are low. She manages to save $500 a month. In 5 years, Zoe has $30,000 in the bank, plus interest. Ned, despite earning double, is likely still hovering around that $50,000 debt mark because life happens, emergencies happen, and he has no margin. Being at zero means your burn rate is low. If your monthly expenses are $2,000 and you have no debt, your survival threshold is incredibly low. You are harder to kill, financially speaking. Wealth isn't what you earn. Wealth is what you keep. If your expenses include interest payments, your wealth-building machine has a massive leak in the fuel tank. Wealth equals the sum of income minus expenses. So, if you're in the $0 net worth club, or if you're currently in the negative net worth club and trying to get back to zero, here is your playbook. We need to get you to the great zero as fast as possible. Step 1. The debt audit. Stop looking at your monthly payments. Stop saying, it's only $400 a month. Say, I am $20,000 behind the starting line. That's what the banks want you to do. Step 2. The burn the ships mentality. If you are in debt, you are in a house on fire. This means no more eating out, no more treat yourself moments, and definitely no more financing anything. Step 3. Protect the zero. If you are already at zero debt, stay there. Use the 24-hour rule. Step 4. Build the freedom gap. The gap between what you earn and what you spend is the only thing that matters. If you earn $4,000 and spend $4,000, you are at zero. That's okay for now. But your goal is to make that gap $500, then $1,000. That gap is where your wealth is born. Invest that gap into low-cost index funds and let compound interest do the work that you used to do for the banks. Here's what most people don't realize. And this is the secret sauce of the $0 net worth club. When you stop owing people money, your stress levels drop by about 40%. There is a physical weight that leaves your shoulders. You sleep differently. You walk into your boss's office differently. You aren't a supplicant anymore. You are a free agent. Most people are so used to the background noise of financial stress that they don't even realize it's there until it's gone. It's like living next to a construction site for 10 years, and then suddenly, one day, it goes silent. The peace is deafening. That peace is where better decisions are made. When you aren't desperate, you don't make desperate moves. You don't jump into get-rich-quick schemes because you aren't trying to outrun a debt collector. You play the long game, and the long game is the only one where you actually win. Most millionaires didn't start by hitting a jackpot. They started by becoming obsessed with the zero. They realized that you cannot build a skyscraper on a foundation of quicksand. Debt is quicksand. Zero is solid rock. Think about the math of a 7% return on an investment. If you have $10,000 invested, you make $700 a year. But if you have $10,000 in credit card debt at 21%, you are losing $2,100 a year. Mathematically, paying off a 21% debt is the exact same thing as finding an investment that guarantees a 21% return. Do you know how hard it is to find a guaranteed 21% return? It's impossible, except for paying off your debt. That is the greatest investment you will ever make. Look, I know it's hard. I know that looking at a bank account that says $0 feels like you're failing at life, while your friends are posting photos of their new houses and their European vacations. Stop comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. You are stable. You are the master of your own time. You aren't behind. You are at the starting line, and you don't have any weights tied to your ankles. That is a massive head start. The $0 Net Worth Club isn't a place you want to stay forever, but it is the only place where you can safely build a future. It is the foundation. It is the reset button. And once you hit that reset, the only way is up. If this perspective shift helped you feel a little better about your financial journey, do me a favor. Leave a comment below with the word freedom. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the math and psychology of your money. I'm BUKI. Stop letting the banks own your future. I'll see you in the next one.